Hello? Hello? Good morning! Everybody wake up! Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up! If you're not awake yet, you will be. Everybody awake now? Okay, good. Enough of that. Hey, we got apples. Apples, we've got Goldens and Johnny Golds and all kinds of other things. But you know, this is the problem with these things right here is, you know, sometimes my life is like this. And whenever I need to see clearly a little bit, I ask for Jan's help. So Jan, would you help, please?
Oh, those are winter banana.
Winter banana. Ooh. Ooh. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome, dear.
So I can see clearly now. The rain has come. Ta, 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 ta. Good song. Good song. How's everybody this morning? Little Christmas in the air. The fall is starting to come. Isn't that just wonderful? The 19th. Oh, I have. Oh, for crying a bucket. I started 3 times to go out to the car. Jan, the articles that I've got in the front in the car, 3 times I went out to get them, and 3 times I completely forgot. So I'll put that aside right now. And we do have a couple of patron saints, John Lennon and George Carlin. I'm going to read one, and you're going to guess who did this out of those 2. We've got this gift of love. There's your first clue. But love is like a precious plant. You can't accept it and leave it in the cupboard, or just think that it's going to be fine by itself. You've got to keep watering it. You've got to really look after it and nurture it. Okay, John or George? Yeah, that was a difficult one, right? Okay. Okay, John or George? Ever notice that anyone going slower than you is an idiot, but anyone going faster is a maniac? Okay, there we go. Thanks, son. Well, I don't know what I would do there. October 23rd, this week, we will have a partial eclipse of the sun. How fun. And it actually is going to be at 1:40 in the afternoon up until about 4:30. So assuming we have a clear day, we'll actually be able to see part of it. By the way, don't look directly at it, okay? Just so you know. Just so you know. Do you know the difference between education and experience? Education is when you read the fine print. Experience is what you get when you don't. Science is organized knowledge. Wisdom is organized life. Could be. Could be. I like that. Okay. Things that make you go, It is impossible for a man to be cheated by anyone but himself. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Truth is the safest lie. Think about that. No, maybe you shouldn't. Oh, pink flamingo. Oh, that's not the one. There are more plastic flamingos than real ones in the United States. Designed by Don Featherstone, more than 20 million plastic pink flamingos have been sold since 1957. See, you learn something when you go to church. I don't know how useful it is, but you learn something. Oh, more of those homographs, you know, the words that spell alike but sound different and mean something different. Upon seeing the tear in the painting, I shed a tear. I did that wrong. Thank you very much. Tear. Good grief. I had to subject the subject to a series of tests. How can I intimate this to my most intimate friend? I know. Don't try to figure it out. Just it is. It is what it is. Okay. Our eyes can distinguish up to 10 million different colors and take in more information than any telescope. We are the best long-distance runners on the planet. So much so that we used to run after our prey until they died from exhaustion. I have no way to prove this. So, our bodies actually glow in the dark.
Well, they do.
Oh. But the light we emit is 1,000 times weaker than what your eyes can detect. Baby Babies have 60 more bones than adults do. Really? Where do they put them? I don't know where they put them. Hey, it must be true. It's in print. It must be true. Okay. Gamblers of the 15th century England developed a game of chance that employed nothing more than a stick. The name of this game isn't clear, but the rules are simple. The stick was thrown from man to man, then caught and held tightly. The first man would then press his hand around the stick just above the point at which it was being held. Alternating handholds, they would move until towards the top. Victory was achieved when a person got the upper hand, holding the stick, leaving no room for his opponent to grasp above it. This practice is over 5 centuries old, but sandlot baseball players still use it today with a bat in determining who will take the field in the first inning to get the upper hand. Interesting. All right, we're almost done. Bad decisions make good stories. How many of us had some really good stories? Yeah. You never know when it will strike, but there comes a moment at work when you know that you just aren't going to get anything productive done for the rest of the day. Can we all just agree to ignore whatever comes after Blu-ray? I don't want to have to restart my collection again. We have Thanksgiving and things and such up here. Do you want to talk about that?
Thank you. I was prepared this week. I've got some sign-up sheets here. There's a couple. One of them is for the communion. We have lovely volunteers that like to perform a little service for the church, and one of those is doing the communion, putting it together so that we can all partake in it. There are a couple of spots in November, and then I'd like to try to get December filled if we could. So if you feel inclined or guided to do so, please help to volunteer to do that for us. And also, please put your telephone number on there. Lori gives a reminder call the day before on Saturday to help you to remember. So I will send that one around. Okay. The next one is, I'm sending around early the Thanksgiving sign-up sheet because I would like to try to get a head count and give everybody an opportunity to be a part of it if they'd like. We're going to be hosting a Thanksgiving here at the church again this year. It will start at, we'll eat at 1 o'clock, but come early if you'd like to come and mingle and visit, and maybe we'll have some games or something if you so feel inclined to do so. The more the merrier. We had a lot of fun last year. So I'm going to send that one around. And then also the spring, I'm already in spring, look at that. The fall festival that we're going to have next weekend. It'll be on Sunday, right after church. It'll be soups and other things. I've got a sign-up sheet. Kind of need to get a count of how many soups we're going to have. If it's coming around and you see the soups are already quite full on here, maybe you might think of some things that would go with it, like some corn muffins, gluten-free items, dairy-free items for those who are sensitive to those kind of things. So, and also, if you're going to bring a carved pumpkin for the pumpkin carving contest so that we can get also a count as to how many prizes categories we might have, things like that. Phil's going to start it off for us. Okay, so
the category of most whacked.
most whacked. Yes, painting, carving, whatever you want to do to become creative with your pumpkin. We'll have different categories. As we see the pumpkins, you might even think when you bring yours in that it's a specific category. Just let us know when you bring it in. So we'll have it all there. Carved. Yeah, carve them before you bring them in. They have to be already done. One more thing I'd like to do, because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. How many of people that are in here in the church today have had breast cancer or have had a family member or know a friend that has had breast cancer? Please stand up.
I haven't had it. I just know people.
And I got to tell you that just totally gives me chills to think that there are that many of us out there. It is such a horrific disease. And I get emotional because I am also a breast cancer survivor. Thank you for standing up and honoring that. Just being here, just being alive is absolutely amazing because there are so many who don't. And I would love to have everybody just send out a prayer, healing energy, hold that in your thoughts, and let's see if we can't help this disease to be eradicated. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. A drunk man, now that I've got all your attentions, who smelled like beer, sat down on the subway next to a priest. The man's tie was stained, his face was plastered with red lipstick, and a half-empty bottle of gin was sticking out of his torn coat pocket. He opened his newspaper and began reading. After a few minutes, the man turned to the priest and asked, "Say, Father, what causes arthritis?" The priest replies, "My son, it's caused by loose living, being with cheap, wicked women, too much alcohol, contempt of your fellow man, sleeping around with prostitutes, and lack of a bath." The drunk muttered in response, "Well, I'll be damned." Then he returned back to his newspaper. The priest, thinking about what he had said, nudged the man and said, "I apologize. I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to come on so strong. How long have you had arthritis?" The drunk answered, I don't have it, Father. I was just reading here that the Pope does." Oops. Okay. Wow. I'm getting good at this.
I know. I try to replicate it, and I have not been.
I told you it doesn't work. It has to be like this. Every time. Every time it works. Actually, I think I even remember. I think we're going to do Josh Groban, You Raise Me.
I don't know if you could hear him in the back. He was wailing. Well, I wouldn't know about wailing, but. I'm sure. Shut off. Thank you. Hey, I need a volunteer. Not right now, but I need a volunteer. Somebody who can do computer data input. We have all kinds of emails from last year's expo. I would like to send them an email about this year's upcoming expo. So the emails need just to be put into a database. So if anybody would be willing to do that for me, I would really be grateful. You do it? Oh, awesome. And it doesn't have to be done tomorrow. You know, we've got time. So, which is why I'm trying to do it now rather than later. Well, it's been a real interesting week for me. Has it been an interesting week for you? Bet mine was more interesting. No. Let me just look at you for a second. Hi, Phil. He's waving. Yeah, you can wave. I just want to behold you. And the reason I want to behold you is because we go through life and we feel invisible. We go through life and we feel like we don't matter. And for just right now, I want you to know that I see you. I see you. And I see you for who you really are. Not for who you think you are, not for what somebody else expects you to be, but I see you. I see you. So, well, that's it. My interesting week. Did anybody, I don't know if everybody's on Facebook or not, but on Facebook I said, shift happens. If you're not on Facebook, or if you are on Facebook but would like to get the Facebook feed for the Divine Fellowship, please ask to be added to that. I don't know how to do that, but I think if you request it, I can say, yeah, sure, you're part of the group. So I don't know how to add you with you. Anyway. So shift happens. So shift happened. Always the one. It started like Wednesday night. Was it Wednesday night? Wednesday night. Laying in bed, and I I usually just take a few minutes before I go to sleep and just to be grateful. Because you know, gratitude is the doorway by which really awesome things happen. So I was just laying there being grateful. And sometimes when I'm laying there being grateful, and I close my eyes, it gets really bright, and I see like light. If I open my eyes, it's not there, but I close my eyes and it's bright. So that just lets me know there's an angelic presence. That was really nice. But this particular time, I closed my eyes, and all of a sudden it was just black, really black. And I felt like I was looking at a membrane of something, or like a big pool of water, and I was looking down into it. And I felt something drop into that, and from that radiated out this amazing energy. And from this drop radiated like, and it wasn't like a circle, because it was like, it was jagged edges, so it looked like it was a vibration, like a sound. You've seen sound and it'll make it looks, do you know what sound looks like when it hits, you know? I'm not being very descriptive today, so translate that into something that your mind can handle as a fact. And the energy that was coming out of that was this electric blue. And right next to the electric blue was this electric purple. And right next to this electric purple was this electric green. And it just went boom. And if I couldn't hear it because it was so low. But if it had been a sound, it would have been boom, and it expanded out like this. And then boom, and expanded out like that. And it went on and on. It was in this eye. And I thought, I might be having a stroke. This is just weird. I think I'm dying. But I kind of just was there with that, just letting it over. And it was beautiful. Oh, light show, pretty colors. So I did that for a few minutes, and then that subsided, and then boom, it went into this eye. So I was like, oh, what was that? I don't know what that was. So the next morning, I'm up, la la la, day is normal. Didn't have a stroke, thank you God. I'm grateful for that. Went to have coffee with my brother. We were going to go to Spud Nuts. Have you ever been to Spud Nuts? Don't you love Spud Nuts? Yeah. So I had coffee with my brother. We were talking, and I said something about, my blood pressure's been kind of low. And I said, I find that, I don't know why my blood pressure is so low, because I'm so high strung. And he looked at me and says, you're not high strung. Boom! I can't tell you how long I have considered myself as high strung. So here's the voice of someone that I value, someone who knows me. And they said, no, that's not who you are. So I go home and I said, Phil! My brother said I was not high strung. He says, well, I would never use the word high strung to describe you. I don't think you're high strung. Boom! So then I'm like, then what am I? I've been high strung so long in my mind that what am I now? I have to define who I am. If I'm not high strung, what am I? And I got to be with that for a bit. I was lost. I'm not high strung. Oh my God, now what? I was starting to get high strung about that. And I got to thinking about that. So where did that high strung come from? I don't know about you, but childhood was tough. And so I created in my mind this sense that there had to be something wrong with me in order to deserve some of the things that happened to me. I had to be defective in some way. There had to be something wrong with me. So then when I became attached to a person that was not so kind, he said, you are high strung. And he said that in a moment where I just bought it. Looking back, I can see that was his way of saying, don't argue with me, just do what I tell you. But there was a part of me that had this, you ever seen Velcro? You ever looked at Velcro? It has a loop and it has a hook. So I had this loop that says, you're defective. There's a problem. There's something wrong with you. And he says, you are high strung. And I bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. Hook, line, and sinker. I bought it. I became high strung in my own mind. I took that on for years and years and years. I'm 64. This was a long time ago. And I believed it to be truth. I'm high strung. What if I'm not? What then? What then? Who am I? So I'd look at that. So this got disconnected, but here I still had this, there's something wrong with you. There's a defect. So I had to look at that. Looked at that and looked at that and looked at that. Now, okay, so if I'm not high strung and that no longer has a hook, they're disconnected now, and I'm looking at this, there's something wrong with you. Maybe this is the lie that got hooked in. So maybe the treatment that I had as a child, maybe the treatment I had in previous relationship was not because I was defective or high strung, as I had defined it, but because they were acting out of pain. So I don't have to be defective or act on that or believe that to be a truth anymore. There was many years in my life where I felt I had to make people like me, do a lot of people-pleasing stuff, do a million things that I really didn't want to do, but do that because if not, they'd find out I had a defect. They might think I was high-strung, so I had to pretend I was something else. And as soon as I could say, what if I didn't have a defect? That vanished. Oh my gosh, now I have to redefine who I am. Okay, so now my brain is like spinning, calming it down, go back to the boom, and allowing this to expand. Allowed my awareness to expand. Boom, allowed my awareness to expand. What if I'm passionate about some things? That's not high strung. But what if I'm passionate about things? What if there's some things I'm not passionate about? Because, the opposite of high strung is mellow. I don't really think I'm mellow. Maybe I am. I don't know. I have to sit with that for a while. The energy of trying to decide what I am or what I am not is tremendous. I'm reading this book called Small Choices, Big Changes. And one of the things it talks about is they've done all this research, cool research. When you have times where you have to make a decision, should I do this or should I do that? The energetic resource for making a decision is really limited. And the more time we take to ponder it and analyze it and think it through, the more de-energized we become, the weaker we become, the more tired we become, the less motivated we become, and the more chances there are of us doing something stupid. Why did I do that? I don't know. Give you an example. Let's say you have a chocolate chip cookie, an oatmeal cookie, a snickerdoodle, a lemon bar. That should be enough. And you get to have one. You get to have one. And you're analyzing, I really like chocolate chip because it has those little chocolate chips in there. But I really like oatmeal. It's kind of healthy. Got that cinnamon stuff in there. I like that. Cinnamon nutmeg. Lemon bar. Ooh, that's got some zing to it. I could really like a lemon bar. Snickerdoodle. They're soft and they're sweet. A little cinnamon on top. Ooh, they're all really good. Okay, so I've just taken myself from empowered. And the more I think about that, the less energy I have, to the point where I have no energy at all. I'm going to eat them all. Because the energy that it takes to decide, that mental energy of processing and analyzing data, takes tremendous energy. And we have no energy reserves. And when we have no energy reserves, we have no willpower left. We have no strength of will. But if we come from our heart space, and the heart space leads us, then it's like, what do I love? I love a lemon bar. I'm going to have a lemon bar. then I have power in that. And I can have a lemon bar and walk away. But when I'm analyzing things and worrying and stressing, and then I have no energy left. I have no energy left. The heart is this powerful, wise thing, but the heart can believe a lie. And the heart believes a lie, especially when somebody says, you are. That's a pronouncement. You are, whatever. Now, here's the deal. If somebody says, you are brilliant, if I don't have a hook for that, if I don't have a loop for that, it just flows right off. But if somebody says, you're stupid, and I have a hook that says, you're stupid, that hook's in there. And oh yeah, And then this wonderful thing happens of the universe says, you want to look at that? And brings you stuff that makes you get to look at that. And brings you more stuff to make you look at that. I'm broke. Okay? You believe? You are broke. And the universe will bring you stuff. Don't you just hate that? Love, hate it. Love, hate it. Grateful, but not grateful. So the things that are happening in your life right now are here. If you don't like them, they're here because you have a loop and a hook. You're Velcroed. And until this goes, or someone tells you a truth that can unhook that, and you can take a new look and then go, you're stuck. You're Velcroed. Sticks like glue. But it's not glue. You don't have to live with that. Velcro is wonderful because it's removable. And you're done. You can pull that off of there. And it's not even as painful as pulling off a Band-Aid. If you ever pulled off a Band-Aid, oh, now that hurts. This doesn't hurt. This feels really good. Might be kind of fun. So what's happening in your life right now, if there's something you don't like that's happening in your life right now, what's the hook and loop? What's the lie? And where does it hook in? Because if you don't have the hook, the loop for it, it can't attach itself to you. Can't. It just slide right on by. Have you ever tried to stick Velcro to glass? Won't stick. Won't stick. The lie can't stick if we're not carrying the loop. And that loop is that belief system that we have about ourselves. I had maybe a 40-year-old belief system that got shattered in an instant. What belief system would you like to see dismissed? What are some, let's get a little feedback here. What are some loops we might want to dismiss? What's something you might want to dismiss? Somebody shout something out. Worthlessness. Worthlessness. You are worthless. If you don't feel worthless, you are worthless. Can't hook. I have no choice. Ooh, if you feel like you have no choice, if you feel helpless, then somebody says you have no choice in this. That'll hook. And you know what? We tell it to ourselves. We don't have to have somebody else telling us, but then the universe will come along and bring it for us. And usually it's on the heels of a human being feeds that up for us. Oh, here you go. You get to look at how helpless you are. Yes, ma'am. You can't do that. You can't. You can't.
That's a comment that people use, and you feel good about yourself, and then just because they say that, but you can't do that unless you do it their way or you're taught a certain way. That doesn't apply.
So you feel like, again, that's kind of hooks into this helplessness. Yeah, you can't. I'm helpless. I'm stuck.
You're not
Stuck.
smart enough.
You're not smart enough. And the other corollary to that is you're stupid. My dad's favorite word for me when I was growing up was stupid. Didn't know my name. He called me stupid. That's a terrible way for a kid to grow up. And then you wonder why I felt like I have a defect.
Failure.
Failure? Okay. Failure, meaning, failure's this big thing, meaning you'll never amount to anything. Okay. So if you tell me I'll never amount to anything, it goes like, what are you talking about? I haven't got that loop. If you tell me you can't, how does that work, Phil? I don't have that loop. I got your high strung, so you better be careful. But I don't got that loop. We all have different loops. Anything else you want to throw out there?
Not enough.
It's all about the money. It's all about the money. And?
And not enough. I'm not enough.
I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I don't have enough. I'll never be enough. Not good enough. So are we identifying some little loopies here? And here's the deal. We get really mad at people for telling us you are no good. Thank God for them, because they are bringing up to us a loop. Oh, look here, honey, you have a loop. Let me just yank on that for you. See, it's there. If we take the loop out of there, then it can't hook. There's nothing there. It's like la la la. Whatever. So let's disengage that stuff. So how do we do that? How do we do that? Well, for me, it was a really wonderful thing. I had somebody I trusted tell me different. So check it out with somebody that you really love. Somebody you trust. Do you think I'm worthless? Oh, yeah. Well, thank you very much. New friend. Time to get a new friend. This is not what friends do. But check it out with people. Check it out with people. In the event that you are living in a cave and you have no one to talk to about this, what are you telling yourself? Now here's the problem. Here's the problem. These lies are so deep that without intervention, something beyond the normal, we hang into that. Here's why. Proverbs 23:7. For as he thinks within himself, so is he. As you think within yourself, this is a judgment that we've made about ourselves, and we don't question them. I never questioned whether I was high strung or not. I just accepted it. I didn't even know it was an issue. I'm sorry, that's funny. That's really funny to me. So you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. The truth shall make you free. Now, those that are followers of the way, the truth of the matter is Jesus is the Christ, Son of God. He came to pay the debt, and he did pay the debt. I'm free. I'm free, I'm free. That same principle, whether you're a follower of Jesus or not, follower of the way or not, applies in everything. The truth sets us free. Had a family situation this last week. And someone told somebody else an untruth. And they didn't tell me. So I'm just la 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 and spewed the truth. Oh, there was drama. Well, that person told me this. Oops. So I got on the phone. Well, I told the truth. Oh, you did. They were mad. But they had to deal with that, and I think it really helped. They got some air cleared, blah, blah, blah. But when there's drama, it's because we're not in our truth. Where there's truth, drama runs. Drama hasn't got a foothold. So we got this place of truth, finding the truth. And you can tell what the truth is by external evidence. Okay? So maybe having this low blood pressure, I can't say that right, thing, was God's way of saying, look at that, you ready? You ready to take a look at something that has been a profound judgment you have carried, a profound lie that you're ready to let go of. So what's going on in your life right now is a wonderful opportunity to take a look at what might be a lie. I have a story to tell you. I'm reading another book. I'm reading more than one book at a time. It's weird. This one is Gratitude. And one of the stories was telling about this lady who had, I think she had cancer. And she was going to go get a cancer test or screening or something. She was very worried about all the things that could go wrong and should go wrong and la la. She was so upset about all of this that she wasn't noticing the beautiful day. She wasn't noticing that the sky was blue and the mountains were lovely and the trees were pretty and it was a crisp, wonderful day. Nor did she notice the big German shepherd that was defending its yard. So she was just all drawn up and worried. And good thing it was cold because she was wearing a coat. Dog bit her in the butt. And she was like, oh my gosh. She thought, oh, now I've got to go to the emergency room. I'm going to have stitches. I'm going to miss this procedure. It's going to be just terrible. I'm going to have to go through this all again. So she ducked behind a bush and dropped her pants and thought, oh, no, there's no blood. Didn't break the skin. And then she had to laugh. It took an outside circumstance to bite her in the butt to get her attention. That worry is so non-productive. And she shifted. She shifted that fast out of that worry and stress and, oh my gosh, what's going to look. Now she was grateful that she had time to make her appointment. She was grateful that she didn't have a dog bite or rabies or wasn't going to die from rabies. And it put her on a path of being grateful about stuff. So whatever circumstance is going on in your life right now is the bite in the butt to look at the lie. And when you find the lie, replace it with the truth. Because the truth is extremely, extremely powerful. There's a little sticky right there. Because I want to talk to you about Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. There's a lot in that chapter. I'm not in that verse. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But it talks about the thoughts and intentions of the heart. That's where these lies reside. They don't reside in the conscious mind. I have no clue. They reside in our heart. They reside in who we think we are. Our heart has thoughts and intentions. And the Word of God, as this verse is saying, is living and active and sharper than a two-edged sword and can cut, piercing far as the division of soul and spirit, both joints and marrow, and able to judge the thoughts and intentions of the heart. So we can cut through this. We can. And it's the truth that cuts through this. But we got to find the lie. So, if the lie is, I'm not good enough, what's the truth? What's the truth? I am enough. I am enough. But it's hard to believe that, isn't it? Especially when life keeps throwing us circumstances when I just didn't have enough to make it. But if we believe, I'm good enough. I may not be good enough for you, but I'm good enough. Because God's going to meet me halfway, more than halfway usually. Because there's this wonderful thing called grace that uplifts me into good enough. I don't have to be good enough. There's the truth. I don't have to be good enough. I get to be what I am. So what about feeling like there's not enough money in the world? There's not enough money in my life. Because if we don't get that one, we're going to keep bringing impoverished actions and impoverished thinking, and things are going to happen that are going to keep us from that abundant living. How is it that two people can live side by side in two different houses and one has everything they need and one doesn't? Is one better than another person? Is one smarter than another person? No, it's attitude. It's the believing the truth of it. When we believe the truth that abundance happens, abundance happens. When we believe the truth that there's just never enough money, as soon as we get a little money, then a car breaks down. Dishwasher breaks. Something happened. Let me tell you a story. Not in the house we're in now, but the house we lived in before that. I had a washer and dryer. On their last legs, we had to replace dishwasher. None. No money there. So every day, and it was making some funny noises. I think Phil had fixed it like 4 times to that point. Every day I went in there and say, "You're a good dryer. You're just the best dryer ever. You just work so hard for me. I'm so grateful." And that little dryer lasted and 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 lasted. Till we had money to replace it. And when we had money to replace it, it died. Have you ever, remember Josie teaching us how to bend spoons? Part of that is becoming one with the spoon and feeling the energy. And the other part is just being in a positive state of being. When you're in a positive state of being, physical forces change to fit your belief system. Now, before I ever bent a spoon, I couldn't bend a spoon. Couldn't do it. Because I couldn't. But as soon as I began to recognize positive train of thought, the spoon bent. I didn't have a positive thought of, I can bend a spoon, I can bend a spoon, I can bend a spoon. I started thinking positive thoughts about everything else. And the spoon yielded in my hand. Did you have that experience? Some of us have done spoon bending. The spoon just turns into goo and will bend. It's the coolest thing. So too with our lives. If we believe we are enough, the universe says, yes, you are. Let me show you. If we believe we're crap, the universe will show us that. So figure out the loop and figure out the hook, the belief system, and the lie. Disconnect the lie and let's shift the belief system. Let's do a guided meditation, shall we? Deep breath in.